And that's exactly what happened on this giant. Tom's up to his old tricks. He's no stranger to big whitetails, I can tell you that.
This is what we did here. You could think through your own scenario and possibly use this to hide your access coming into a stand. And that was the shift from La Nina to El Nino. And once it fully shifted over, the pattern changed and we started getting rain again. And we've had more rain in August than so our beans are gonna pod really heavily. Our corn looks fantastic. Big list of things to do today, so hopefully we have a productive day.
We are inching ever so close to those opening days. Some of you may be already out there hunting. If you're in South Carolina or perhaps out west in one of those states, we're still waiting. We've got a little bit before the Missouri opens here mid-September, and then of course Iowa opens the 1st of October. So the things we like to do are fine-tune things, a little update on the farm. We went through a dry spell there in May and June, and then it started to rain sometime around late June through early August. We got a lot of rain, and all of a sudden the corn and the beans went from on the edge of dire straits to one of the best crops we've ever had. So it's exciting to see what those nutrient seeds turned into. We're going to do a little update with that. We're going to look at some vegetative screens. We're going to go review a brand new CRP planting. So not that it's that exciting, but someday it's going to enhance the cover on that particular farm. So we've got a few things we're going to touch up on, and then we're going into the woods with one of those jam up hunts from last fall. I think you guys are going to love seeing our old buddy Tom Ware take down yet another mega giant.
Look how tall this is, man.
Oh yeah.
That's doing pretty good. So we're out in the middle of what looks like a weed field, but in reality, this is a new planting of warm season that we just turned this particular farm into CRP. It's about 40 acres. Actual CRP acres are like 33, but we did some edges as well and added some cover to this farm. It's always been open, but our overall daylight activity was pretty minimized. Couple that with the fact that it's a little bit rolly and I want to conserve the topsoil, so we transferred this agriculture area, this tillable area, into warm season grasses. We did a frost seeding last year, came in and planted it, I think mid-November, and it's coming on just wonderfully. We've already mowed it one time, but you can look out through here, you can see we've got Big Blue, we've got Indian grass, and we've got Cave and Rock Switch. We've also got two different legumes. This is one of them. That's the black-eyed Susan. And then we've got a mixture of Johnson grass, which we're gonna get that knocked out with another mowing or two. That's the main thing when you're trying to establish a new CRP field. You really got to control and set back all the grasses and all the weeds that try to come on and overtake your planting. These plantings are too expensive to let go, so the best thing you could do is mow it that first year. We're going to mow it again now, and then we'll mow it again closer to fall. So looks pretty good. We're happy with the stand. It's going to really show out next year, that's for sure. I wanted to increase the cover on this farm, and the cover varies anywhere from knee height up to about my shoulders. You don't want to go with one solid grass that chokes them out. You want to give them room and give them room to roam and bed down. So hopefully, once this matures next year, we're going to have cover like this height, but also holes out amongst the cover, and we're going to hold all this topsoil. That's the main thing. But I'm really happy with this seeding. For the first year, you couldn't ask for much more. We're going to get rid of the Johnson grass with another mowing. Probably 2 more mowings. Look out next year. This used to be a clover field over here, and we've got footage of several deer coming off the clover, crossing this dam and coming right at that blind. So that blind's there for a reason, so that it can see the traffic on this particular dam. We've got water, we've got incredible cover between the two fields, also to the west and to the east, and now we've got beans and a green field. I believe that particular field is in radishes, so we'll see if it works out. I suspect it will. Pretty excited about it. We love the setup, we love the architecture, especially when you get to watch a farm, watch deer movement. You can all of a sudden make some moves and some plans to try and enhance the overall activity on that farm and enhance the movement during daylight within bow range, and that's what we're all after. So this field, I'm pretty tickled with it. Literally, for the most part, is knee high, which is probably the shortest field we've got. However, you would have had to seen it. It wasn't even worth looking at about a month ago. So, doing pretty good. Now here's something we put in that was relatively inexpensive. we put a row of miscanthus in to hide visibility from the cabin that sits in this part of the farm. Some of the best deer hunting is right here south of the cabin, so we put this vegetative screen to kind of block or insulate the activity here at the cabin from the deer activity that's about 300 yards to the south, or 200 yards to the south. And this is the second year for it. It's up over my head, and it really does hide and shade everything that's going on up here. We'll give you a look from the other side to kind of help you understand what it's done. But if you look down both ways, you can see we made a vegetative screen probably 100 yards or so. So this just gives a protective screen. As you can see, you see the roof of the cabin, but anything down there in the plots aren't going to see any activity up here. It really does make a difference. This is what we did here. You could think through your own scenario and possibly use this to hide your access coming into a stand, or possibly hide a full field, insulate it from activity on a road or at a house or whatever it may be. But it really does work well. It's thick and it's tall.
This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by the new specially designed, lightweight, and durable Tenzing Hang Time Day Pack. Go further, hunt longer, Tenzing.
Look how tall those are. Check it out, man. They're up above my waist. They're taller than the 80 acres of tillable right next door. And heavily potted. Look at the pods. Top to bottom. I mean, this is awesome to see beans this high. I mean, smoking. One of the things we do with our beans, and you've probably heard us say this before, but like the farmer probably planted at about 160,000 population to the acre. These were planted at 200 to 220. And we do that to make up for the browse pressure that we know we're going to get next to this timber. By planting at a heavier population, they could come out and browse 20-30%, and you're still at a normal population. And we got one heck of a stand of beans. They shaded over good. They're clean as they can be, and they're over waist high throughout. This is a great spot. It's right where Carson killed one last year when it was a cornfield. One other thing of note, we tried to mimic whatever the farmer's planting. We try to plant the same thing so that the pressure's not greater on our crop than what the farmer plants. We've got 5 acres here of a food plot. Well, he's got 80 acres of something that's going to be harvested. With it being the same product, whether it be corn in both fields or beans in both fields, it reduces the pressure on our food plot because we're going to let this stand. So that's something we've tried to do is mirror what he's planting. We plant the same thing, and it worked. That's freaking awesome, dude. If you look at this architecture, we've got a horseshoe around this center piece of brush. Typically these deer come out and they'll work around the edge of it or walk through. We also put a water hole in there, and with the rain we've had lately, it's already filling up, so it's hard to see it from this angle. Climb up in the blind, you'll be able to see it, but it's just those extra little steps we try to take to make every spot perfect. So they've got cover to the west, they're gonna have green, big beans, and this should be a magical spot. We've got two big deer here that we're hoping showed back up. If they're here, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to sit this and watch one of those big guys take a dip out of that, or take a drink out of that water, walk into the green, watch Wade shoot right over the top.
This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by Hawk, designed for those who push their limits to hunt stronger, safer, and smarter. Hunt from above.
Look at that corn, brother. Let's stop and check out some of this nutrient corn. It's our first year with this variety. Oh, this is exciting. Look at this. There's some deer pressure on the outer edge, but in here, everything's 10, 11 foot tall and 2 years on every spot. It's kind of a mess in here, but that's intentional. Like, we started planting on 15-inch rows a few years ago, and it really does a nice job for us here in Iowa, because we wanted our cornfields to shade quicker because we were having so much trouble with weeds. So we put down chemicals that we could come back over the top and plant green if we have to, if you have a full crop failure. However, if you go with the type chemicals that you want to keep your plot clean throughout the entire year, you're not going to be able to come back over with brassicas because the dirt would still be dead from the residual. So we're going in with a chemical that has a 60 to 90 day residual. We can come back in with brassicas if we have to. So what we want to do is shade out quickly. That's why we do 15-inch rows, 28,000 population. That's why it's so thick in here. When these plants are like knee high there in June and July, they shade out very quickly, and it allows us to use chemicals that we can come back in and plant brassicas if we have to. Obviously we don't have to here, we got a great corn crop, but just look at the ears on these. Look at this. Every dang plant's got 2 big ears on it. Pretty awesome. There's another one with 2 ears. Giant ears here, look at that one. Now we're getting out in the middle of the field. And that is a giant ear. Plus there's a secondary ear here as well. I don't know if you can see that. But that's, I mean, this corn's gonna easily do 220 bushel acres. She's thick. Look at that. That's a nice size ear. Beautiful. But I think what happened, we had a great start to our cornfield and our bean fields because we had a good seed bed planted, and then we got like 1.5 inch rain, so germination was 95+%. And I think then those roots went deep in May and June. We had a few more rains, got the crop off and started, and then May hit. Mid-May to end of June was just terrible. No rain whatsoever, maybe a couple inches. But I think what happened is those roots went deep during that period. Here's that other ear, it's not even finished filling, but that was off of one stalk. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I think those roots went deep both in our beans and our corn, and then come late June, it started raining again. And that was the shift from La Nina to El Nino. And once it fully shifted over, the pattern changed and we started getting rain again. And we've had more rain in August than I can ever remember. The ground is still muddy under my feet, so our beans are gonna pod really heavily. Our corn looks fantastic. And I just can't tell you how impressed I am with everything we planted from Nutrient, that it held through that drought. These crops waited for that rain. I mean, they went for 6-7 weeks with very little moisture and held in there, and we were like, man, I can't even believe how well it's doing. So we're very impressed. I know Terry said he's impressed with what Nutrient's done on his farm as well. But things are looking good. This whole field is just full of ears. Look at that. Look at that shot right there. I mean, every stalk, this one's got 2 giant ears on it. Look, those are both this size. That one's gonna have 3. I mean, that's just crazy. That's what August moisture will do for you.
It's always good to get out there, get on the farms, check everything out, make sure that the plans are in place. And I know for me personally, when I'm on the farm, I think of other things that we could do for the future or still yet to affect this particular season. Where can I hang that new camera? Where could we possibly put a plot? Those types of things. Well, now we're getting into the blind with our buddy Tom Ware. He's one of the longtime Drury Outdoors team members. However, he retired a couple years ago, but once in a while he still takes a camera with him. And that's exactly what happened on this giant. And Tom's up to his old tricks. He's no stranger to big whitetails, I can tell you that.
Well, here we are. We're in southern Iowa. I retired from Drury Outdoors at the end of 2020, but I did tell Mark, I said, if I get a big buck worthy of being in front of the camera to show you all, then maybe every now and then I'll take the camera with me and a cameraman. A couple years later, and I got a big buck that's worthy, McDreamy. We have been dreaming about this buck the last couple years. We had him on Reconics coming into this scrape about 20 yards from this blind, and that's why we're here tonight. The temperature has really dropped. We're sitting on some standing beans. We should just have a fantastic hunt. It's a little windy. That's what it's all about tonight, is one buck. We've been dreaming about him all year long. I hope it happens. shape. I mean, he just moved off, and a combine or something went through a tractor or something. And then he moved in. We took this flap down that was here, and I'm not sure really where I hit him. It looked like maybe a little bit high. We're gonna have to review the footage, but hey, we saw him. Daylight, we're here. McDreamy. McDreamy. Good job. Well, we've been in here since 9 a.m. It's now 12 p.m. We've been looking for 3 hours. I did not hit that artery. I don't know, but we just found him. And he's right over here. We're gonna take you to him. Look at that big antler right there. Let's go check him out. Look at that. Oh my. That's what dreams are made of right there. Oh my gosh, he broke that little fresh tip off right there. That's okay. So clean. He actually had more non-typical points last year. All he's got is this Ford G2. Straight 6x6 with a Ford G2. Actually got a little bitty drop tine right there. I'll take it. Oh my gosh, that is what dreams are made of. McDreamy. Oh my gosh, beautiful deer.
So that's a wrap on the 14th episode of Deer Season 23. And now we've got hunts that should start rolling in. By the time you're watching this, Wade and Todd are up in Alberta. They're getting after it with our good buddy Corey Jarvis. And it's that time of the year we all dream about and hope for. So we hope in the next few episodes we've got some footage to share with you from Alberta. If not, we're going to dig around the Drury archives and find something to get you fired up for the season.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by DeerCast, the most advanced deer movement predictor ever.